last chapter ended with the revelation that Nine was taken over by the Daikaiju of the Meiriki era, and he managed to hypnotize Kafka and impale him in the chest after breaking his core. Could this be the bad turning point for Mina and Kafka against this monster? Let's find out. We continue the story in chapter 114. Here, Nine explained that before, he was just a weak kaiju with intelligence as his only pride, and that was all he identified himself as at first. He hid himself from humans and lived peacefully by only eating small animals, until a fateful day came when he learned that he was stronger than humans, and this was the day he managed to kill a man. Ever since he began learning, he said he couldn't stop himself. He studied his capabilities and what existed in the human world, and as he continued to amass knowledge, his curiosity grew and he became obsessed with learning. And then, inside a large cave, as if being guided, he encountered an abomination of a kaiju, which looked similar to the Daikaiju of the Meiriki era that he showed to Kafka. After that, we returned to the present and turned to Reno's situation while fighting giant kaiju. He seemed surprised by what he saw, and it turned out this was because the monsters he was fighting suddenly stopped moving. While he was still thinking about what was happening, Iharu called him and informed him that the kaiju he was fighting on his side had stopped moving, so he asked if he was experiencing the same thing, to which he commented that they were having the same experience. Because of this, they both thought that Kafka had defeated Nine, so Reno immediately tried to call Kafka to congratulate him happily, but we suddenly shifted to a scene where we saw the extreme concern on Mina's face while staring at the impaled Kafka. She shouted in worry, and the assistant in the control room quickly informed the others that Kaiju number 8's core was damaged, and they were detecting a new Kaiju reading from inside Nine. Concern was also visible on Nagazaka's face while thinking about what was happening and wondering if Nine's core shouldn't be destroyed by now. Kurusu shouted that the estimated fortitude of the kaiju reading they were seeing was also immeasurable like Nine's, but its waveforms were completely different, and here he realized they were sensing a completely different kind of kaiju. We returned to Kafka's situation, where he spat blood from the attack he received from Nine, but it seemed this wasn't enough to take him down as his eyes filled with rage, and even 8 showed intense emotion in its desire to kill. Kafka grabbed the limb that Nine used to impale him and tried to punch him in the face as a counterattack. However, before his hand could land, Nine's face suddenly split vertically, and it opened to reveal countless eyes. An incantation ritual-like pattern began appearing around Kafka's entire arm, and when the eyes Nine showed blinked, Kafka's entire arm was immediately severed and thrown away. The strange attack Nine performed was so powerful that it split a large part of Kafka's surroundings, and it traveled far. Kafka was severely hurt by that attack, but Nine's assault didn't end there as he produced another incantation on Kafka's chest. When one of his eyes blinked again, Kafka's chest was immediately sliced, and the impact was so powerful that it created a shockwave that sent Kafka flying. Kafka crashed into a nearby building, and that building collapsed from the force of his impact. The people inside the control room and bunker were stunned after seeing what happened to Kafka, and while looking at the now unconscious Kafka, the young girl he had saved from the first part of the story began crying. The assistant became more worried when they saw that Kafka's vitals were undetectable, which sent more chills through Keiji and Nagazaka's bodies. The assistant couldn't believe this was how things turned out, but suddenly their communications tab buzzed, and it turned out to be Mina. She steeled herself and immediately ordered the assistants to send ammunition to Point F right now, which brought the assistant's focus back. Mina shouted while charging forward that she would shoot Nine before his limbs could regenerate. Because of this, the assistant immediately ordered a helicopter called Apache 5 to provide ammo via aerial launch. However, before they could do this, Mina's special weapon was suddenly sliced in half, which shocked her. The power of Nine's attack was so strong again that it managed to slice through a large part of the surroundings, and Mina was thrown back from it. Mina skidded across the ground while being thrown back, causing additional injuries to her body. After being thrown, she looked at Nine in frustration, but when she did, her eyes widened in shock, and this was because Nine's body had transformed again, gaining a leaner body, 8 oracle-like arms, and a vertical split in his body that also contained eyes inside. Mina then hears a voice speaking to her while remembering what happened inside Kaiju No. 9, that no one had ever managed to escape from him. No matter the era, no matter how strong, not a single person in history had ever done so. Using her remaining strength, Mina tried to aim a pistol at 9, but when she did, he simply used an incantation attack on her, and unfortunately, this monster placed that incantation vertically across her face, which stopped her there. It is then shown to us that number 9 was the one saying the words earlier.